I just bought it. It's really neat. Well, I haven't tried this one. I still haven't tried the alarm tower. These were against we're waiting for the stream to start. Can't start yet. It's not 7 o'clock yet. guys go hostile. Yes. Spend that money. Alarm tower. So I can only really get one other. Okay. 2 ranger bases and a mercenary camp. Ugh, I'm cooked. Yeah, this will hurt. Plane and 3 for each field. Do that. Can I? No, I probably can't. Let's get it. Can we do T-spins? Yes! Can do T-spins. Let's go. Tower. We need the farm. That's the problem. We don't have the farm yet. It's like, that's not enough. No. 3 for each connecting piece. Oops. No. 1, 2, right here. See, I would not mind doing that. I want to do this though. No, of course I can find what's your teacher, dude. He's just playing video games. Like, what is wrong with him? Turn each force into a plane. Let's go here. Just so we can then get more. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Although now we're not getting any farmland, but that's okay. I mean, it's not okay. I'm crying about it, usually. Collect 5 for each terrain square in its row. What the hell? Rows are this way, yes. So, that's quite a bit of money. Yeah, it's gonna be a good weapon for you. Trust me, bro. Just trust me. Yeah, let's do these. If we get 5, we're going for 6s. Mercenary camp. What is this? Just garrison 9. Okay. I got a farm here. Yeah, the farm just came way too late. I think I'm running out of farmland. Okay, there we go. Tower crew 10 for each enemy military building aligned with it. Ho ho! Don't mind if I do. Oh, baby. That's game. GG. That's over. Alright. That there. Let's do this. What do I do here or here? What do I do here? Got 0 tiles left. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we'll do that. Okay, that's fine. My dog's running around, if you hear that. That gets the grain. That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Let's fight. Well, we're gonna go here to here. Here. Easy money. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Big win. Yes, it is Tetris, but you're like building a society or like you're fighting and stuff. It's a cool game. I quite like it. 11 gold, 66 gold, A lot of wood, a lot of wheat. First 5 for each connected field. Export. I think we're gonna go military. I don't know, my military seems pretty strong on that one. Harvest 5 for each connected field. I don't have enough fields for that. Let's do town. Yeah, it's like it's a roguelike that uses Tetris to like build societies and stuff. We would like food. Like food, and I'm gonna sacrifice for more food. Oh, I have a progress thing I can do. Let's do strategic rebellion, sure. I don't know how I get those trained here. This game is called Drop Duchy, and the review's starting at 7. Yeah, unemployed. Yeah, you're right. Wow, 250 for 500 wood. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Change a level 1 card from a random deck. From your deck for a random card. Trade resources, 250 for 400 gold. I don't need gold that bad. 250 for 500 wood. I mean, it seems good. I don't know this game well enough. I don't need gold that badly though, you know? So, but they're setting me some sort of exchange right here. Just quick chat, do the ratios. 250 or 220, 400 or 352. Like, what's the exchange rate here, you know? I don't think that's the math. That's not the math total. Please reminder to keep chat cool. If chat doesn't want to be cool, people shall be cooled off themselves. How do I? Let me make sure I know how to like block people. Oh, I can put using timeout. I can hide them on the channel. I can report. I can remove. Okay. Cool. Let's go here. Now I have a lot of wood. What's this? This is food. This is gold. This is wood. I think we should go for more food now. So, yeah, get rid of that. We're gonna go over here. The hostile region, grass. It's all grass, all plains. So, what do I have? I have the town now. So let's go and unlock this. We have plenty of space to do that. Let's go town. 13 and 4. So there's not gonna be a lot of use for the wood clearer here. Definitely use the farm and the watchtower. And then I need to put these all on the same line so I can alarm tower them. And then, yeah, okay. What's up, Bobby? Recruit 3 for each adjacent planar field. Plus 15 of adjacent to at least 6 men. We'll clear your chilling effort now. We want to bundle this guy up a whole lot of forest. Okay. And we're just gonna cut you off right here, buddy. No force for you, or no plane for you. I'm gonna hold on to that guy now. See, it's only got one, or it's got a range of 2. So she's gonna put it here. So don't give that guy planes. Watchtower. Well, now that I've done this, it's fine to do that. It's not the greatest. Catch ourselves up a little bit. Oh! Misclicked! That's the worst part about this game is I misclick. Turn each plane into field. Let's go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's going to be good. Watchtower. Let's put the watchtower right here. And then we'll put the mercenary camera on top of it. Oh no, that's not the watchtower. That's not the one I thought it was. Oh, oh boy. Play around a little bit there. Collect 5 for each terrain square on this row. Oh, I should have put it sideways. See, I'm playing around too much, you know? Not doing a good job. Alright, chill out with that. tower then. Okay, let's sneak it in that way. There we go. Cooking. We got around my mistake. Which is nice. Alarm tower obviously goes right here. Give me 30, please. Thank you. That might be GG, honestly. That might be it. That's fine. I'm gonna give him a little bit extra. That's fine. I think I'm giving. Oh, am I giving him more tower? That's cool. E that. Yeah. Nope. Back it out. Back it out. Back it out. We don't want that. Let's go do that. How many tiles we got left? Oh, that's 0. No cursing, please. Let me see. I'm gonna remove. Aha. Okay. Okay. Not great, Bob. But I have enough health. This should be fine. Yeah, no. I don't do anything for my I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is all history and stuff, you know? This is what this is. Alright. Let me do that real quick. Let me get out of here. Oh, I got another card to play. Whatever. Okay, let's get out of here. Quit the desktop. Alright. Wait, where's my... Where's my Word document? Did I accidentally close it? I'm accidentally. Yeah, there's my dogs. Okay. Oh, I gotta re-sign in again? Are you kidding me, dude? Hang on, let me do my 4-pin IC password. 60. I had a cool document. It's not that cool. I had a document up. What's full screen? F11? Yeah. Cool, cool. Got that. Dog reveal? No dog reveal. In fact, you don't get anything now. Sorry. Okay, that looks better, I think. Yeah. Okay. No, and let's not be weird, y'all. All right, I'm taking my Wednesday to do this. let's not be weird about it all. All right. Thank you. I'm glad you like the T-shirt. All right. What time is it? 7:02. Okay. Let me pull up. I want to pull up this bad boy over here. All right. Let's go ahead and get crack-a-lack in here. Yeah, that's not doing anything for me. Hang on. Let me. Yeah, I don't think you're doing it right. Oh boy. Okay. All right. All right. I'm almost ready. All right. All right. So we're starting 5.1. Starting with Unit 5, the Revolutionary Era. So we're doing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then if you have any questions. So some things I did forget though for sure was the travelers. I didn't talk about the travelers in class. So 1200 to 1450, that's going to be, I think that's all of them. It's Marco Polo, Ibn Battuta, Marjorie Kempe, right? And then also Zheng He, who's in the second time period from China, right? Marjorie Kempe, the Christian lady who went to a bunch of holy sites, had a lot of children, right? All that stuff. And then Ibn Battuta goes to Dar al-Islam, goes to the Muslim world, and just learns about Islam and stuff like that. And then Marco Polo goes to Kublai Khan's court at the Yuan dynasty, travels there, learns about China, comes back, gets arrested, and then tells this whole story to this dude in prison with him. And then that dude writes a book, The Adventures of Marco Polo or whatever. Okay. Okay, so there's no difference there, Vidya. Okay, so anyways, and there's stuff I know I forgot, so don't worry about it. Okay, worry about it as much as you can. All right, so revolutions, right? So this is both political and the Industrial Revolution, right? We see this. So some stuff they're talking about here in the intro of our book on Unit 5, right, that I haven't really thought about or talked about much, is like this idea that industrialization and the new ideologies, right, are also being are changing at the same time, right? So you have this idea of nation states, nationalism is at the forefront as well at this time. So you're seeing that these there are still empires, right? But like you're seeing a lot of breakup of empires, right? With the Ottoman Empire losing territory in Europe, right? Obviously, the Latin American states gaining independence, United States, right? You're seeing this kind of rise in nationalism in the nation state, right? And so that's also kind of happening around the industrialization. What's up with the audio? Yeah, Revolution started Unit 5. Akin, come back to me on that one. Okay, turn up my mic. My mic's all the way up. Maybe I need to get closer to it. How about that? Okay. How about now? Is that better, chat? Okay. Get audio right. Can y'all hear me? Is this better? Birdcore said audio is chill. Still really quiet. Okay, people are saying yes. Okay. All right, so let's get back to it. Now we got all that out of the way. Okay. So yeah, the Enlightenment, right? So what are we talking about here, right? We're talking about change in political, and I'm going to be typing a lot, so sorry about that. Right. Wake up, dog. change from kind of monarchical to, you know, representative governments, right, is a big thing there. You got your thinkers, Adam Smith, Thomas Hobbes, John Locke. Well, Adam Smith's economics, right? But yeah, so this comes from the scientific revolution, okay? And like, I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I'm probably just gonna talk. I'm probably not gonna have a whole lot on the screen. In fact, I'm even like, I don't know if I like want to even set the tone with doing this. Like, I'm just kind of I kind of want to just talk through all the sections, okay? So this comes out of the scientific revolution, right? This idea of the Enlightenment, this idea that, you know, government maybe should be looked at, should be reinvestigated in the context of the scientific revolution, right? Speaking of like context, like if there's any essay that you can write about revolutions, scientific revolution is a great context to talk about with the Enlightenment, you know? So yeah, we have, so the Enlightenment comes out of that context of the scientific revolution, and so it's basically just applying the scientific method to governments, and then a bunch of guys come to the same conclusion of like, oh, hey, you know, maybe we should have some more representative government, right? And even John Locke is like, maybe we should just revolt, right, and stuff like that. Baron Montesquieu, separation of powers. Voltaire, separation of church and state, right? Very much anti-institution is Voltaire, okay? Is it best to review the middle units to the beginning ones? Yeah, middle's really where it is. Scientific revolution does come before Enlightenment, yeah. So scientific revolution, then Enlightenment. It's Renaissance, scientific revolution, Enlightenment. That's the like rule of thumb right there. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who really is similar to John Locke in a lot of ways. The book doesn't do a good job of explaining anything that he's about. Okay. And then Adam Smith with capitalism, right? He invents laissez-faire capitalism. Again, laissez-faire capitalism, the idea of like, hey, you know, the government leaves the economy alone. That's going to be the big thing coming out of this era, replacing mercantilism. Okay. Thomas Paine, yeah, okay. I'm not going to talk about utopian socialism. You don't need to know about that. Classical liberalism, that is liberalism, right? That's the idea that like, hey, slow or like change over time is good, right? Society needs to change. Whereas conservatism is the opposite of that, right? Hey, society needs to stay the same, right? Again, look at who is in power in that society, right? Who's benefiting from that society? Oftentimes they're going to be conservative, right? Those who aren't benefiting as much are going to tend to be more liberal, right? It's going to be units, 4, 5, 6, and 4, 5, and 6 are going to be pretty meaty. 3, not so much. 3 is the lightest, I think. I think it's like 1 is the lightest, then 3, then 2 with the Mongols and the trade networks. And then, I think if you're going to get an essay from the first one, it's going to be Unit 2 for sure. Feminism, right? Feminism comes up to play here. You have Mary Wollstonecraft, who writes the, you know what, let's just do this. We're just gonna switch over. We're gonna pivot to what I'm doing. Okay. I would believe Freemanpedia. I would believe Heimler and Freemanpedia all the time, like for sure. They've been doing this a long time. They know what they're talking about. You know, that feels solid. Units 3 and 4. I can't buy 3, but I can see 4. Okay. Mary Wollstonecraft writes the Vindication of Rights of Women, which is about, hey, equal education opportunities for women. Okay, we get the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848. It's a big year. There's a lot of revolutions going on. Dog reveal right here. You can see Charlie. Okay. Yes, there are 3 LEQ options. Okay. No, ChatGPT. Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they talk about maritime versus land-based. That's definitely a possibility. I don't know. I did predict it one year when it was like about China or something, but I'm not really gonna do that. Just because you can't do context doesn't mean you're gonna fail. It's just 1 point. It is 1 point. Just chill out. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you like the dog. Okay, I gotta focus, y'all. I gotta start looking at chat. Abolitionism, hey, movement, to end slavery. We know all about that. Which feminism really benefits from, right? Feminists really start as abolitionists and then move into feminism later. End of serfdom. I've mentioned this, right? 1861. So this is 2 years before the Emancipation Proclamation in the United States, which ended slavery effectively. right? And so those two things are really hand in hand, right? The end of serfdom and the end of slavery are exact same time, right? So when you're thinking about changes in labor, right? They come up with the idea of changes in labor systems as an essay topic, right? That's the big change, right? Is the change end of slavery, end of serfdom. You would also probably talk about indentured servitude on the rise, especially coming out of China and India in this era, okay, which we'll get to later. Zionism, we've talked a lot about. Theodor Herzl, founder of Zionism, the idea that Jews deserve a homeland in Palestine. Okay, also keep all current events off my chat, please. Thank you. Dreyfus Affair, that's the French guy being accused of being a spy for the Germans because he's Jewish. Okay, American Revolution, I don't need to talk about that. New Zealand Wars, hey, the British take over New Zealand. There's wars with the Maori. The end, they lose. The end. It's just, again, I'm not trying to be dismissive of this. It's just like, I don't, they're not going to ask, well, this is nice, you know, you can do context, you can do extra evidence with this, right? But other than that, we should don't have time. French Revolution, again, this is a revolution against, French society in and of itself, not necessarily like the other revolutions, the colonial revolutions, right? It's more about, like, changing all of society altogether, right, rather than revolting from a colonial power, right? Economic problems, they had a lot of tax issues. They didn't have enough money, and they spent a bunch of money in the American Revolution, and then they were trying to call for taxes on the wealthy, and they said no, and that's what really led to it all. You get the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of Citizen. That is the Declaration of Independence for France. You get the Reign of Terror for a brief moment, where they go a little too crazy with change. They get really weird. Like, they change the calendar to, like, 10, 100, it's like 10 days in a week. It's weird. I forget exactly what they did. They did a bunch of really weird scientific stuff, like too scientific. Okay. I think y'all are good on the content. I really think being able to do that big picture changes and stuff is probably the best. Right? I'm going to just kind of poke that in as we go. When it comes to mind. Haitian Revolution, Toussaint Louverture, revolting against the French, right? There you go. They get their independence. Creole revolutions, we talked about this, right? But this is not this is a revolution, but it's not a revolution in the same way that it is in the United States, right? It's about getting rid of the upper class peninsulares and mercantilism, right? Rather than completely changing the political system. Okay. We talked about the social structure classes. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Simon Bolivar's in charge. Writes the Jamaica letter. They talk about this a lot in the context of the Declaration of Independence and the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. I know we didn't really talk about it. It probably should be bolded in the book, right? But the Jamaica letter, pretty important as like hey, this is what I want this society to look like, right? From Bolivar. Again, the results here, they try to create Grand Columbia. They try to create one big constitutional or federation. It didn't work, and so what you see here is you'll eventually see caudillos kind of take over power. And Lola Rodriguez de Tio, like, I don't feel like the book does a good enough job explaining why we need to know about her. Okay. The Philippines taken over by Spain. Jose Rizal and the propaganda movement engage in a revolt against them. Right, Rizal eventually gets executed for this, but it really kickstarts the revolt movement as well. Just in time for the United States to take over the Philippines and promise them a whole bunch of stuff and not do any of it. Let me look at chat. Did the Haitian Revolution, American Revolution also come from alignment? Video, all of them. Every revolution is alignment based. Every single one. One or tutorials tomorrow. I don't have tutorials because I missed a faculty meeting today, so I can do faculty stuff. Maybe go see Shrewsbury if she's cool with that. How to make a proper claim for LEQs and DBQs? I don't know what to do with that one at this point. Yeah. You guys are on it already. Honestly, do we do specifics? Do just you need specifics to write your essays, right? And you need specifics to like be able to prove to yourself on a multiple choice what's correct, what's not, right? And stuff like that. Okay. This is Unit 5. Unit 5 is 1750 to 1900. Do we only need to do HIP analysis for only 4 documents? You only need to do it for 2 documents. I've been getting y'all to do 4, right, so that you can get that extra point if you want. Okay. All right, moving on. So we have realpolitik in Europe, right, between Italy and Germany, both of them applying this idea of realpolitik, what they call the practical politics of reality. But it's like being a scumbag. It's just like taking what you want, like using the world to your benefit, not really focusing on like diplomacy, right? Not trying to be nice. That's where realpolitik is, right? So Italy unified by Camillo di Cavour, whose name is right here. Okay, Count Camillo di Cavour. He's the prime minister of a region called Piedmont Sardinia, which is on the border with France. And his king, Vittorio Emanuele, is going to eventually be the guy who unites Italy and becomes the first king of Italy, unified Italy, excuse me. So we also, Giuseppe Garibaldi, you know, they're helping unify. Anyways, Germany is all about Otto von Bismarck. Again, this is realpolitik. Goes to war with 3 different states to kind of form a national identity around northern German states, I should say, because Austria is German in their south. Right, and so he puts together this whole like plan to basically go to war with France, Denmark, and Austria. Uses that to like really create a national identity for the Germans, and then forms Germany out of Prussia mostly in 1871. Right, you can see right here. When's Italy, by the way? I always forget when Italy exactly is. Oh, Italy's like 1850s. They don't actually say. It's 1871 for both of them. It's the year I guess we should focus on. Okay. They talk about Italian poverty leading to more immigration to the United States and Argentina, which is more of a Unit 6 thing, I think. Okay. Balkan nationalism also, right? The independence of Greece, the independence of Bulgaria, Serbia, Romania, all gain independence from the Ottomans during this time period. Right, the Ottomans are really poor, really just segmenting Europe, so they just really can't do anything about it. All right. Yes, Otto von Bismarck also involved in the scramble from Africa, same guy. So Ottomans try to do their nationalism, doesn't really work. We're moving on. Okay, Industrial Revolution begins. Okay, hey, so this starts in England, right? Starts with agricultural improvements, crop rotation, seed drill, the reapers, I think, come about. Actually, reapers are probably a little later. I think about it, probably post steam engine. But yeah, so we see this agricultural revolution due to these new innovations in agriculture. So huge growth in food production, but also it's more efficient and cheaper, so we don't need as many workers anymore in farming areas, right? And so what that happens is that forces a lot of people into urban centers, right? And then those are because they have to go somewhere to find a job, and then the urban centers eventually benefit by having them there. I don't care about that. Cottage industry doesn't matter. Technologies, these don't matter. Interchangeable parts, Eli Whitney, cool names to know. Interchangeable parts though is big for the factory system because now every part's the same. So you just sit there and do that thing. That's all you do. And then we also get the assembly line from Henry Ford, making it even more faster, more efficient. Okay. Mando, I have no idea how long the stream's going to be. It's going to be until I'm done giving it. So I don't know, to be honest with you. Okay, so why Britain? Access to raw materials, access to trade networks, quick, easy water access, colonial resources, and they had good resources within England itself, specifically coal and wood, right? Good navies, private property protection. This one's unique. This one's worth thinking about. The idea of like, hey, they have the ability to protect innovations, right? So they have laws in place where if you invent something, right, you get monopoly protection for a little bit. We have that here too, right? Patents and copyrights, right? We got it from England, right? Enclosure movement in England, right? They created that whole law code that that said, hey, we're going to shut down the common areas. We're going to make those private property and stuff like that. Again, forcing more people to move. All right, industrialization spreads. Okay, it spreads to France and United States, France and Germany. Like, we're moving on from this one. Russia, Japan. Shifts in manufacturing. So it's just a decline in manufacturing in other places. India with its shipbuilding industry. Egypt with its cotton textiles. Same with India. Right, ironworks in India are outlawed. Right, they can't do iron production anymore. Right, I don't know what this Southeast Asia part is. I don't see anything here about that. So whatever, we're moving on. And then textile, yeah, all decreased. I think I can do shorter than an hour and a half, but we'll see. Coal revolution. Actually, no, I'm going more detailed, so it probably will be an hour and a half at least. Technology in the industrial age. So we have the coal revolution. That's the first industrial revolution. That's late 1700s, early 1800s. Okay, James Watt makes a steam engine, which helps. It's just powered by coal. We see steamships completely change the game on sailing. You can literally go upriver. You can go pretty much anywhere around the world really quickly. Okay, so water transportation is huge. Also need coaling stations. You got to have those coaling stations out in the Pacific, especially. Less so the Atlantic. There's not a lot of islands in the Atlantic to do coaling stations at anyways, but the Pacific definitely needs it. Okay. Iron, blah, blah, blah. Second Industrial Revolution. This is the late 19th century, early 20th century. This is all about oil, right? Oil, electronics, or electricity, I should say, not electronics, not yet. Oil, electricity, chemicals, steel working, steel production, telegraphs, telephones, radio, right? All that stuff as well. Okay, a lot of just like this is modernity, right? This is where the modern age really hits. Okay. Global trade and migration. Okay. Also, I have a real quick idea. Would anybody rather me just go through LEQs and like talk about how I would write LEQs? Is that something we'd want to hear as well? Can I make a poll? Is that possible? Yeah. Okay. Finish review or look at LEQs. Review LEQ. I'll start a poll. Okay. We'll start a poll. We'll see how that goes. Okay. All right. So, yes, Bessemer processes the steamship stuff. Okay. Can I do both? I can try. It's kind of hard to do. All right. So, okay, whatever. Transcontinental Railroad. Moving on. Some of the Unified stuff is useless. Government's role in industrialization. Ottoman Empire. We talked about this in some classes. Ottoman Empire. Doesn't really react well to industrialization. A lot of conservative groups don't let them industrialize properly, right? Zane, I got all day, man. I gotta go to sleep, man. Shoot. Yes, Lisa, that sounds exactly correct. For coal, so the ship can go further. Yes, that's why. Yes, you're exactly right. Okay. All right. Sounds like we're going to switch over to LEQ here in a little bit. I'm actually going to start pulling that up on my other side here if I can do that. Okay. Oh no, I got to remember my College Board login on this freaking computer though, and I don't remember it at all. All right. So, anyways, China does not really interact well with this either. Remember, they're isolated. Oh, hello. That works. Oops. Okay. Yeah. Give me that, dude. Okay. Okay. Password, please. No, I'm not trying to password generate. I'm trying to see my password. No, I don't want to do that. No, use password. Verify. Yeah, I didn't think so. No, never. No. 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 Go away. No, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to do a password generator. I'm going to do my password. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Sorry. Yeah. Give me that one. Why aren't you letting me manage my passwords, Google? Oh, shoot. Okay. Y'all never know my PIN. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's what I thought it would be. Let's do a little bit. I almost said it out loud. Goodness gracious. Okay. So China again does not interact well with it at all, right? To the fact that they then get split up into spheres of influence, they essentially get colonized, right? Japan, of course, with the Meiji Restoration, right? They do rapidly actually like pick it up. Egypt leaving the Ottoman Empire. That's not bad. That's not bad at all to talk about. Okay. The Mamluks were big at first, right? They talk about all that. In Egypt. And so anyways, the Ottomans are in charge of Egypt, and then you see homeboy here, Muhammad Ali, gained independence from them. Okay. 61. 61 LEQs? Are you serious? Okay. Am I allowed to do this? Let's go publicly available. 17. That's a lot. Okay. All right. Oh, too far. Chill. All right. Okay. So, anyways, we're going over to LEQ stuff. Okay. Oh, can I write in here for real? I can write in here. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. You go to the bathroom and stuff. Okay. Bye, Abby. Sorry, you don't need LEQ help. Okay. Okay. So, develop an argument that values the extent to which a 20th century revolutionary movement was inspired by one of these ideologies. So, first off, it's periodization, 20th century. So, not American Revolution, not French Revolution, not really the Haitian Revolution. I think it might bleed over into 1800s, but I'm not sure. That leaves you with the Creole Revolutions, which is 1820s, and then the Balkans. And that's kind of really about it, right? So that's tough, right? Revolutionary movements which by various ideologies, including communism, nationalism. So I would definitely do a nationalism essay. I'd write about the Balkans. Religious revolutions. 20th century. I'm a fool. 1900s. So that's Russia. That's the Russian Revolution. That's the Mexican Revolution. That's the Chinese Revolution, if you want to call it a revolution. I don't know. I don't know if I do that. Okay. So I would say let's focus on definitely the Russian Revolution. That's easy. Communism. Okay. Nationalist revolutions in the 20th century. Develop an argument to which a 20th century revolution movement was inspired by one of these ideologies. So we only need one. So the Russian Revolution, communism. We're done. Easy. Okay. So what's the context? What is the context for this? Okay, so what we could do is we could talk about maybe the origins of communism, right? Explain Karl Marx, right? Explain the kind of industrial society that it was coming up in, right? So that could be our context for sure. We could also talk about, we can maybe go future context. We could even talk about like the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1989. Right, we have a lot of things we can do there. Okay, so evidence. What is our evidence here? Okay. All right. So, can I stop the poll? Let me stop the poll. End poll. Okay. What is the evidence here? So it would be Vladimir Lenin, right? Actually, Vladimir Lenin and the Bolsheviks. Okay. I would say, World War I, right? So when the Russians are getting creamed in World War I, that's when they start to be like, hey, let's revolt here, right? Playing time is included. Okay. Ottoman Empire, is that a revolution though? Like, that's the word revolution is throwing me off on this one a little bit because there's not that many revolutions to choose from, and even when we're talking about nationalism, there's not a whole lot there. I mean, I guess you could talk about the Turkish like Turkey gaining independence, but I don't know if they'd call that a revolutionary movement, right? The only revolution that we really talk about is the Russian Revolution and the Mexican Revolution. Like China is not really called a revolution, right? So I don't know. That's tough. Evidence: Vladimir Lenin, Bolsheviks, World War I. I'm trying to figure out how it was inspired by one of these ideologies, right? And so, right, discontent with the Tsar, right? Oh, what we could talk about is we could also talk about the Revolution 1905, right? The Bloody Sunday, the Russo-Japanese War and reactions to it, right? Okay, so we're cooking, right? Okay. All right. So maybe context. Let's see what context would look like. Okay. So let's say communism came about in the 19th century through the thoughts and writing of Karl Marx. Okay. Marx believed that the people should own the means of production, right? Giving them ownership over business, over the industries they worked in. Okay, this was done within the frame of industrialization, where monopolists and entrepreneurs had taken, had created incredibly wealthy companies, okay, but not paying their workers, nearly enough money. Okay, because of this, Marx advocated for communism so that the working classes would have more wealth, as well as a way to overthrow the capitalist system that currently existed, as it currently existed, let's say. Currently existed. Can you do controlled elites in Blue Book? Does anybody know? Okay. Vidya, you're asking me like too vague of questions. I'm sorry, I can't answer that. So there's context. I think it's okay, right? Oh, I need a tie-in though, right? Marx's ideas would go on to greatly influence many revolutions, most notably the Russian Revolution. That's too good. That's too good. You can't control the lead. Thank you, Epic Fun. You're real cool kid there, right? Okay. So what is my thesis statement? Okay. So the Russian Revolution was greatly influenced by the ideology of communism, as the country would undergo revolution during World War I in order to so that they could escape the monarchy and embrace a more worker-centric the Russian Revolution was greatly influenced by the ideology of communism as the country would undergo revolution during World War I so they could escape the monarchy and embrace a more worker-centric government. That's okay. That's okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, we're not cooked. Nobody's cooked here. We are doing the cooking. Okay, I got the stove ready. Okay, we're gonna cook up this AP test, nice and light. Okay, get a good fresh crisp on it. Okay, crispy outside, tender on the inside. Right, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be delicious. Yeah, context needs to be pretty big. Yes, context needs to be long. It needs to be substantial. I've been expressing that lately in class a lot. If you're not in my class, it needs to be chunky. It needs to be big. Okay. All right. All right. So what does evidence look like? Okay. So see, this one's weird, man. This is a weird one to write. All right. So let's jump in. Right. So Russia had spent most of the early 20th century angry and upset with the direction of the country. In 1905, I should know the date. You don't need to know the date. Okay. You know what? I'll play dumb. In the early 1900s, Russia had lost a war with Japan, a country that was considered... Oh, wait, but see, haha, I'm not addressing the prompt. See, we got to be careful. Because it's just about how it's inspired by one of these ideologies. This is not about the ideology, right? So I got to go back in, okay? Claim goes after the context, okay? All right. Okay. Okay. Oh, boyars. Okay. Russia had lived under the yoke of the boyar noble class for centuries. Previous czars had given more control over the serfs in Russia to the boyars, creating an imbalanced society, right? Creating a balanced society. In this context, communism became an appealing escape from this system since it's preached greater economic equality. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. Can we include some events at the beginning of the time period in the context? Yeah, yes, you can. Just be careful. Gadget Gamer, do not write a one-sentence context, please. You can. You're not going to get the points for it. We're going to move on to a different prompt. I don't like this prompt. It's poo-poo. All right. In the mid to late 20th century, a variety of political, military, and nonviolent methods were used to bring about political and social change, develop an argument that values exists to which individual, group, or movement in the mid to late 20th century successfully challenged existing power structures during this period. This is just like another revolution one. That's so weird. Okay. It's not about being boring. I feel like I'm just getting loud people in chat. All right. So, what would this look like? Artists with individual, group, or movement in the mid to late 20th century successfully challenged existing power structures during this period. You know, we're gonna skip this. We're gonna skip this one. You know what? You get 3 shots, right? You get to pick one. Here we go. In the period 1450 to 1750, oceanic voyages resulted in the Columbian Exchange, which transformed the eastern and western hemispheres, developed an argument that evaluates how advances in science and technology affected society in this time period. Greatly, right? So that would definitely be, navigational technologies. That would be, gunpowder, right? That kind of stuff. I think that's pretty obvious to talk about. Okay. Alright, start another poll. So anyways, navigational technologies of gunpowder, I think that's definitely more than enough to talk about. So what's the context here? So 150 to 100 years beforehand, okay, what are we looking at there? So let's say Protestant Reformation could work, but that doesn't really impact anything. We talk about the Aztecs and the Inca, right? I don't know what that does. We could talk about, interactions with the Muslim world, bringing new technologies back. Okay. Bringing tech back, we could definitely do that. Okay. Let's see, what else? Okay, so there's our evidence, there's our context, right? So our thesis would be like, hey, it greatly impacted society through navigational technologies, bringing, leading to new world exploration, right? And gunpowder, because those weapons allowed them to easily conquer those territories, right? How did gunpowder get the Europeans? Yeah, Mongols. Okay. Easy. That one's easy. Okay. It's not. It's only 55%. It's not a whole lot of y'all saying yes on this one. I'm just gonna point out. More Columbian Exchange questions? I don't want to do that. Which developments in economic and or commercial practices in Afro-Eurasia affected trade in this period from 1200 to 1450? Trans-Saharan, Silk Road, Indian Ocean. So with Afro-Eurasia, which economic and or commercial practices? Hello, paper money, flying cash, banking houses. What else? There's another one I could have sworn. Credit in general. Okay, that one's easy. That one's easy. Okay, what time is it right now? 7:40. I've been talking for 40 minutes already, y'all. Okay. You just gotta get those ideas in there, man. You gotta do them. I don't like this name. I don't like this name right here. Sorry. I'm gonna dip up. You know what? Okay. Yeah, I just don't like your name. I don't want to see it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So boom, easy money. Context. What could our context be here? All right. So let's say that. So we could talk about the dangers of travel, right? We could do that. We could do future stuff. We could. What would be the context for this? Dang. This development, economic, and or commercial practices in Afro-Eurasia affected trade in this period. Okay. Dang, Brandon. Sorry. Jeezy crazy. Song Dynasty, okay, yeah, Song Dynasty, trade growth, right? As a big like society there, right? Okay, absolutely. Okay, I get with that. Okay, the Song Dynasty in China was one of the most economically successful, there we go, states of its time. Okay, through its production and sale of silk, porcelain, and tea, Song China came to dominate trade throughout throughout Asia, including both the Silk Roads and the Indian Ocean Trade Network. Okay. Their use of this one's deep. Proto-industrialization techniques allowed for them to produce massive quantities of goods for sale. Period. In order to protect this growing trade coming out of China, they needed to create more secure ways to exchange goods, and then boom, enjoy these estates. Okay. All right. I'm hearing y'all on the poll. 64%. All right. We'll move back over. Okay. But anyways, context needs to be chunky, right? Context needs to be big. Okay. All right. So let's pick it back up. Muhammad Ali with Egypt. Okay. So he revolts from the Ottoman Empire. And then he industrializes through cotton textiles. He does some weird tax program, like he taxes the peasants a whole bunch or something, and it works, I guess. I don't know. The Meiji Restoration, y'all, do I need to talk about the Meiji Restoration anymore? Hey, Matthew Perry shows up, they industrialize, it's two things. They industrialize and they get rid of their political system at the same time, right? They transfer from being a shogunate back to an imperial system, right? More centralization, but they also do create a legislative body. They copy a lot of Prussian stuff, right? How do you improve your context? Write more. Okay. I think before is easier usually, but you can do after. Okay. Meiji state reforms, charter oath, constitutional monarchy, equality before the law, reorganizes the military based on the Prussian. Again, Prussian government, Prussian constitution, Prussian military, new school systems, building of infrastructure, and then subsidizing industrialization. This one's interesting. So what they're doing is the government is essentially paying these industries, right? So they're going to operate at a loss, but instead what they're going to do is they're going to operate at a loss. The government's going to cover the loss, and then they'll be able to grow that industry. Okay. All right. And oh yeah, Zaibatsu in Japan. Those are private companies again that the government is subsidizing a lot of. We are cooking, absolutely. All right, economic developments and innovations. Okay, business organization. So if we think about our financial innovations over time, okay, we start with what we just talked about: credit, paper money, banking houses, into joint stock companies. And then now from joint stock companies, we're getting to corporations, right, which are have stockholders, but there's articles of incorporation, right, stuff like that. There's official documents and whatnot, right, and you get stock markets and stuff. Although stock markets already existed at this point. Okay, you got monopolies. They talk about monopolies a bunch. The Bessemer process, in Germany, is monopolized by this guy Krupp. Cecil Rhodes with diamonds. Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation and Unilever, examples of transnational organizations or companies that work across multiple countries. Okay. And then different types of corporations. Don't worry about all that. Yeah, they talk about banking, finance, magazines and stuff, right? Newspapers. No, that's not what this is. Yes. Yeah, most valuable shipping news, right? Consumerism, we talked about a little bit today. If we got to this unit, this is the idea that, hey, they needed industrialization, needed people to buy stuff. So how are we going to get them to buy stuff? Well, we're going to advertise to them, right? So that's a big thing there, right? Getting people to buy things, convincing them that buying things is good, retail therapy, and all that stuff. Okay. I might go back. Chill. See, I can't please everybody. That's what happened here. Is it true the class is harder than the AP test? You tell me tomorrow. Okay. All right. Reactions to the industrial economy. This is labor unions, right? So labor unions are upset, right? People in factories are getting overworked, they're getting underpaid. There's no health care, or in terms of if you lose an arm, we just let you go. Okay. Yeah, Arshawn, you're killing it. You're killing it over there. Voting rights. Sorry. So, anyways, labor unions are there, and so what they do: shorter work weeks, 40-hour work weeks, minimum wage laws. Overtime pay, all that stuff. 5-day work week comes with labor unions, right? Because they fight back against industrialists. Okay. Okay. Voting rights. Yeah. So okay, I don't need to talk about that. Child labor laws, right? Child labor's outlawed at some point because now you got to go do education. Okay. John Stuart Mill utilitarianism. I don't care. Karl Marx and communism. We just talked about this. You got the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. The bourgeoisie own the means of production, right? Proletariat are the working class who don't own the means of production, right? And so bourgeoisie gets most of the wealth. The proletariat doesn't do enough, right? Get enough back, right? Here's the whole thing with communism, right? They go to socialism and then communism, right? There you go. Okay. Socialism replaced capitalism, and then would later be replaced by final stage of economic development, communism. Okay. Ottoman response to industrialization. Mahmud II is the guy who gets rid of the Janissaries. He kills them all, literally. And then he also tries to do a bunch of reforms. You can see here, build roads, set up postal service, right? But that feels like a little too late, right? You gotta industrialize at this point, right? European-style ministries to make the government more efficient. Tanzimat. This is after Mahmud, the Tanzimat era. Right, ending corruption, creating a secular education system that's not controlled by the ulama, the educated Muslim scholars. They have new law codes, and then they got the Hatay Humayun that updated the legal system there, which also regulated these groups called the millets. You don't need to worry about all that. Okay. No, you did not have to know all the leaders. Ottoman society, I don't care about that. Opposition to reform. So yes, and then in the end, though, the Tanzimat fails, just like in China, where China has Dowager Cixi. Ottomans have Sultan Abdul Hamid, who basically wants too much power for himself, right? China, they try self-strengthening movement. This is about, let's see, which one is this exactly about? Stable tax collection. Improving military technology, training Chinese artisans to manufacture stuff. Okay. And so that kind of worked, but then you get to the 100 Days Reform. This is going to end the civil service exam and then create Western-style industrial, commercial, and medical systems. So it's this is what Deng Xiaoping is going to do 100 years later, right? In the 1980s, right? This is China. China should have done it right now, but they didn't because Cixi overthrew her son, or grandson, or whatever. And so she opposed the reforms. She imprisoned him, right? And so, she didn't want that foreign influence. Is feminism on the exam? Yes. Okay. This is the easiest one ever. Let's report. That was easy. Hi. Yep. Thank you. No problem there. All right. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Okay, moving on. So that all fails. Japan, we do have some resistance of that. The samurai are upset about it, right? The samurai are literally gone, right? And so what we do see, though, here, this is a little hints for what's going to happen later, right? They do improve their economy and stuff. However, due to the Great Depression, some other stuff in the 1920s, you can see the military take over the government again, right, which is going to lead into World War II. Okay. All right. Society in the industrial age, tenement buildings, right? People living in really bad tenements, causing a lot of issues, right? No building codes, right? Diseases spread, especially cholera, right? But we do see them, governments improve that later on, okay? Class structure, we talked about this a lot. Working class is the new peasant class, right? The peasants are gone. Now you have a working class. And then the middle class grows with especially the role of business managers, right? Factory managers and stuff like that. Okay. White collar jobs, as they call it. Okay. And then, let's see, children, again, education, effect on women's lives. So if you're upper class woman, you are stuck, upper middle class woman, you're stuck inside. You have to take care of the house. Not a great, fulfilling life. If you're a working class woman, you both have to take care of the house, and you also have to take care of work. You have to go to work as well, right? So that's a little bit rough as well. Okay. Okay, cult of domesticity, right? This idea that like women idealize the female homemaker, right? Women buying products, right? Advertising to them as well. Okay, and then effects on the environment. We know pollution, right? That's not crazy. Okay, moving on. I think we're done with Unit 5. Continuity and change in the industrial age. This is a section we never cover, so I'm not super worried about this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's move on. That's actually quite a lot. There's a lot in that section, but we're gonna move on. All right. Give me 1 second here. Okay. You can. There we go. No, I don't want that. How are we looking here? Okay. Close. Okay, my chat was not working there for a little bit, so I didn't see all this stuff. Okay. Oh, this is just filling up. Okay. Okay. Sorry, my chat is going weird. Okay. Unit 6. Imperialism, right? It's not even called imperialism. It's called the consequences of industrialization, right? That's what's going on with that, which is pretty crazy, right? So, like, not crazy, but, like, it helps you hopefully understand that, like, hey, industrialization is the reason for all of this, right? That's kind of what I'm hoping y'all to get to understand. Okay. Serfs are, well, slaves are technically the lowest, right? But the idea still stands. Okay. Okay. Yes, serfs are technically, yes, they're a lower peasant. They have less rights than a typical peasant. Peasants can freely kind of do a bunch of stuff. Serfs are attached to the land. They can't move for free. They can't migrate for free. They can't marry who they want, right? Yeah, you're on it, name. Okay. Rationales for imperialism. Hey, nationalism. Trying to, hey, if you get that, I don't. That's messed up, right? So we don't want to do that. They brought up this, actually, I was reading this earlier, Japan and East Asia nationalism with the Sino-Japanese War, defeating China, giving control of Korea, right? So they'll colonize Korea for about half a century or so. They take over Taiwan for a little bit as well. Okay, so, yeah, I just forgot about that completely. And then the racial ideologies, right? The idea of the civilizing mission, right? That Europeans are superior, therefore they need to like spread their culture to other societies. Social Darwinism, survival of the fittest is an example. Phrenology is another example. Okay. Well, I think I also have more students. Like I have twice as many students in Shrewsbury, so that would make sense. Okay. All right. Oh. Get them in here. Yeah, drop by, yeah. Yeah, go get y'all's friends in here. Or maybe they just don't trust me. Maybe they're off playing cards, you know? All right, cultural ideologies, religion, spread of religion still, religious motives, spread of religion still. Wait, what's this one then? Oh, okay, that's the same. That's what we're talking about with the racism stuff. Religious motives. We got, yeah, missionaries, blah, blah, blah. Economic motives, that's the big one, right? Gathering raw materials. That's the reason they are doing all this, right? Some people believe that ideological motivations more accurately justification for pursuing economic motives, right? And so trading posts are created, but yeah, again, the desire for the sources of raw materials and markets for manufactured goods. So it's two. It's not just raw materials, it's also having markets to sell into. Okay. There you go. East India Company. We know all about that. I'm not going to focus too much on that. We got the Dutch East India Company, right? I'm not saying all that. I'm probably get in trouble with YouTube if I said that all correctly. Okay. Kangani and the culture system. I don't think you need to know about that. I don't think you need to worry about that too much. State expansion. Okay, King Leopold in Belgium. So this is again in Africa they're only at the trading posts early on, right? They're not interior, right? And then they're going to start spreading to the interior because of technology, because of quinine, this malaria medicine that allows them that prevents malarial infections, right? Because Europeans could not go down the rivers like the Congo because of malaria, right? They're really scared of that. Okay. British control of Egypt. They take over Egypt to build the Suez Canal. They talk about corvée labor, unpaid laborers who were forced to work on the project as a form of taxation. Okay. And then British West Africa. Britain takes over West Africa. France takes over parts of West Africa. They do create Algeria, creates a settler colony, which, as we know later, will lead to a revolution in Algeria. Ooh, that was a revolution for the LEQ. I could have done maybe. Okay. Scramble for Africa, Berlin Conference, led by Otto von Bismarck, right? They lay out all these ground rules for how they were going to colonize. So they agree to colonial boundaries and to the free movement of goods on Africa's major rivers, right? So basically free trade within Africa, okay? Boer Wars, we don't really talk about this much, but that's the British and the Dutch down in South Africa to take over the diamond mines that the Afrikaners discovered, okay? The British win that one, of course. Congo, King Leopold of Belgium runs a really awful ship, runs a just absolutely heinous criminal enterprise where he's killing just tons of people. Slavery is not really commonly used. Laborers in the Congo often receive no pay. Their spouses were held captive, so they would not run away. Like, that's crazy. 8 million people died. That's crazy. That's crazy work. Okay. Independence, Ethiopia and Liberia. We've talked about that. Imperialism in South Asia. So France was here, lost the 7 Years' War, so it's all Britain, right? Britain's in charge. Okay. Imperialism in East Asia. We talked about these spheres of influence within China, right? So China essentially gets colonized. So spheres of influence, they are like economic zones, right? They are economic zones where the countries that are in charge of the sphere basically get like free trade in there, exclusive trading rights, and access to natural resources in that region, right? That's really what it is. Okay. All right. Imperialist. So we also have the Taiping Rebellion in China, which is pretty brutal. It's a terrible, terrible rebellion in China. It kills lots of people. It's like I think it's the worst rebellion in human history in terms of the amount of people killed. Okay. Boxer Rebellion, the anti-Western rebellion by Cixi, right? It doesn't really do a lot. It just makes the Westerners more pissed off, and they take more power from them. Japan tries to colonize themselves through the colonization society. I don't think that matters. The Dutch in Southeast Asia. Is this going to be the Kangani system? No, it's not. Okay. We talked about this. Tea, rubber, and sugar. Eventually palm oil as well here in Southeast Asia. French are taking over Indochina, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, right? British in Southeast Asia, sure. Siam is the one place that's not colonized. Thailand. Okay. Australia is taken over originally as a penal colony, then as a settler colony. Okay. And then we talked about New Zealand already with the Treaty of Waitangi. Okay. All right. U.S. imperialism in Latin America and the Pacific. Trail of Tears, getting Native Americans out of Georgia. Monroe Doctrine, which says, hey, hands off the Western Hemisphere, Europe, that is not your zone anymore. And then Manifest Destiny gets them spread all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Spanish-American War, they took a lot of territory there. Mexican-American War, they take a lot of territory from Mexico and Spain in those two. Then you get the Roosevelt Corollary, which is the addendum to the Monroe Doctrine, where it says, hey, actually the United States can intervene if a place demonstrated instability, which means if you are hurting American businesses. They send U.S. troops to occupy the Dominican Republic until they repaid their debts to the United States and to United States bankers. Okay. Russian expansion, we talked about Russia. They expand all the way to Alaska, right? They do that quite a bit. I don't know what else to talk about there. Great game. That's not useful. Okay. All right. I got some very anxious dogs. They want to play with me. Okay. He's not playing medieval Tetris anymore. Okay. All right. Indigenous responses to state expansion. You see the Balkans. We just talked about that. The Balkan independence movements. I'm not going to talk about too much about that. Let's see. Cherokees are trying to actually integrate themselves into American society, and it doesn't matter. They get pushed off their land anyways. The Indian Removal Act of 1830. Right, Ghost Dance is that attempt by the Native Americans, by the indigenous peoples to like kind of fight back. Doesn't really work. Ends at the Battle of Wounded Knee Massacre. Okay, Tupac Amaru the second revolts in Peru. Doesn't really work. Okay. Yeah, France goes to Mexico. The Indian Rebellion, the Sepoy Mutiny of 1857. This is a big deal in Indian history, right? It's a transition from the British East India Company being in charge to the British Raj, to the government being in charge. It is also like, if you guys don't remember, right, the Sepoys were soldiers for the British government, or the British East India Company, and they gave them a bunch of cartridges for their rifles that were cut, that you had to grease with like pig or cow fat, and they got so offended by that they led this whole mutiny, the Indian Rebellion, right? But yes, this also marks the emergence of Indian nationalism. Okay. They also exiled the Mughal emperor. The British Raj takes his orders directly from the British government in London. Right. That's what happens there. We also start to see in 1885 the development of the Indian National Congress. They're going to be the guys who really push for independence later on. Right. Let me take a sip here real quick. Okay. All right. I don't know, Toei. I don't know. I heard about that today. I have no idea. Okay. Southeast Asian resistance. Vietnam is resisting. Got nothing for you there. We talked about that. We already talked about the propaganda movement, Jose Rizal. But then once the Americans get in charge of the Philippines, you still get the Philippine-American War, which ends in the U.S. victory. Right, you can see like 20,000 Philippine troops, 200,000 civilians. That's crazy. 4,300 Americans. That's awful. Aboriginal. That's the third time they brought up the Treaty of Waitangi, man. I can't do it anymore. I don't care about the Sokoto Caliphate, the Xhosa cattle killing movement. We talked about that. Sokoto Caliphate's just like super Muslim in West Africa. They don't matter. I will be shocked if they mattered. Samori Toure in Guinea revolts. Ya Santewa, the Modest revolt in Sudan. Ya Santewa, Sante. They're resistance movements. Those are just names to throw in. I can't imagine asking you much about that. Okay. All right. Global economic developments. Okay. Technological developments. Railroads. So railroads are really big for imperialism, right? Not only does it allow for quicker transportation into the colonies, right, and like in order to like conquer them, it also allows for easier extraction of resources and raw materials, right? So the railroads are like the saying where like the imperial powers like, look, we're helping the people, we're building railroads for them, and then it turns out they're not building railroads for them, they're building railroads for the imperial powers, right? Can we run Pomodoro? No. I'm the one doing the work here. You're not. You're just chilling. I don't need a Pomodoro. You need a Pomodoro. What time is it? It is 8:05. Okay. I'm only not even through Unit 6. Oh my gosh. Okay. I should just get my whiteboard images out and just talk about that. Yeah, okay. Steamships, telegraphs, all communication stuff, making things easier. Steamships, telegraphs, railroads. Those are the big technologies here. Cash crops are grown everywhere, but again, mostly for raw materials at this point, right? When we look at the cash crops of this era, tea, sure, it's a cash crop. Cotton, that was a cash crop previously, but also like, is more important now with industrialization. Sugar, oil palms, right? For palm oil, rubber, coffee, right? That are grown for their commercial value. But again, like oil palms and rubber, they're not actually valuable in and of themselves. They're valuable as part of a process, right? Okay. Bat poop. Guano, right? Huge for fertilizer, and Peru and Chile. Look at this bat guano mine. That's disgusting. That's awesome. All right, so we see export economies. That's what the states that are exporting raw materials are known as, export economies. They don't really do much more than that, right? You see tropical climates that are conducive to the presence of raw materials. Cotton, big one. Rubber, big one. Palm oil, ivory. Ivory is just for, like, it's got some usage, piano keys, billiard ball, but, like, it's nothing serious. It's just a luxury. It's a luxury item. Minerals, silver, copper, a lot of copper and tin, again, for production of the factory system. Diamonds, we already talked about. Apartheid in South Africa, randomly thrown in here. Racial segregation in South Africa. Okay. Yeah, environmental monocultures, right, makes the soil worse. Okay. All right. Yeah, there's 6 documents. Yes, and make sure you, yes, as teacher points out, make sure your hip connects to your argument, for sure, absolutely. And your context, make sure your context ties into your thesis a little bit. Using 4 hips will get you the complexity point, as long as you also hit all the other stuff. Outside evidence, I know you're going to forget, outside evidence, okay? Context, evidence from 6 of the documents, hip analysis for 4 of the documents, outside evidence, thesis, right? It's all online, Mando. Economic imperialism, it's okay. So economic imperialism is not actual imperialism. They're not taking over these territories. They're taking over the economies of these territories through funding, right? Through investment. Okay, so India, well, okay, they're literally colonizing there. Same with the Dutch East Indies. China, again, it's with the okay, opium wars and stuff. But what we really want to talk about here is yeah, I know we know all this. I'm not worried about this. Latin America, right? So economic imperialism is really in Latin America, where Latin America is free, but the British in particular are investing so much money into Latin America that they feel that they have they extract a lot of wealth out of Latin America, right? Not just through raw material extraction, but like companies that are producing things in Argentina, in Brazil, are owned by the British, right? Okay. Investments in Argentina. Again, Argentina big on farming, right? Especially cattle farming, cattle ranching, right? And so Britain really invests into that. Chile has mining, copper mining, guano mining are big issues. Is big there. Rubber in Brazil. Again, these are British companies that are coming in and like taking the rubber out, right? That's what they're doing. So it's economic imperialism, right? They're not in charge, but they are taking the money. Okay. We have banana republics in Central America and the Caribbean, where you have these countries that are under control of other companies from other countries, mostly from American companies, right? You can see, do they have any actual examples here? No, they don't really have any examples. But, like, yeah, a bunch of Latin American or Central American companies, like United Fruit Company and, like, what, Guatemala, El Salvador. I forget which one it is. Okay. Alicia, group your documents into 2 groups that have a theme. Or maybe 3. Well, yeah, 2 groups. You don't want 3 groups. Okay. All right. Can I do a DBQ review? Do I have to? I'm not going to get through all this, y'all. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to get through 6, and then I'm probably going to call it, because I don't need it. We just did 7A9. Like, we just took a test on that, like, Monday. Right? I mean, Shika, Joshi, for outside evidence, it's just, like, okay, hang on. Yeah, so... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna call the review part of this. Sounds like people have some DBQ stuff. Okay, let me run through DBQ. Am I still in AP Classroom? I am. All right, let me go find a DBQ. Alright, so what is this DBQ? Evaluate the extent to which the experience of the... First off, hey, people are asking me for rubrics. It's right here. It'll always show up. They'll have it right before. That's the rubric right there. Okay. Evaluate the extent to which the experience of the First World War changed relationships between Europeans and the colonized people. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for 2 groups of documents, right? That's my goal here. I want to find 2 groups of documents that share the same idea. Okay, so let's run through this one. Okay, John, native of British Nyasaland, President Malawi, ordained Baptist minister, right? So he's native, so he's indigenous. He's indigenous from the colony. We have been invited to shed our innocent blood in this world war, which is now progress. In the past, it's Africa had nothing to do with the civilized world, but now we find that the poor Africans already been pledged into the Great War. All right, so this seems to be about like, okay, so Doc 1 is about colonies participating in the war and receiving nothing. All right. We natives have been loyal since the commencement of the government, and in departments, the welfare of the British would have been incomplete without our loyalty. But in time of peace, the government failed to help the underdog. In time of peace, everything was for Europeans only. But in time of war, it has been found that we are needed to share hardships and share our blood and equality. The poor Africans who have nothing to win in this present world are invited to die for a cause which is not theirs. It's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. Okay. Kalyan Mukherjee, Indian officer in the British Indian Army, is fighting against the Ottoman army in Iraq. Letter to a friend in India. This letter was intercepted by British mail censors and was not delivered. England is the educator. The patriotism that the English have taught us, the patriotism that all civilized nations have celebrated, the patriotism responsible for all this bloodshed. We now see that all the patriotism means is snatching away another man's country. To show patriotism, nationalism, by killing thousands and thousands of people, all to snatch away a bit of land. Well, it's the English who have taught us this. The youths of our country, seeing this, have started to practice a brutal form of nationalism, therefore killing a number of people, throwing bombs. They've started doing these horrific things. Shame on patriotism. As long as the narrow-mindedness continues, bloodshed in the name of patriotism will not cease. Whether a man throws a bomb from the rooftop or the 50 men under orders from the officers are firing from a cannon gun in the front line that causes bloodshed, this madness is the same. Okay, so British teach India about the madness of violence, right? And so, like, how does that change their relationship, right? Sounds like maybe revolts is in the air, possibly, throwing bombs and whatnot. Okay. What is the question here? You need one external evidence. You need one piece of outside evidence. Okay. All right. French postcard. Colonial troops in France and French civilians, 1915. Text card says, black troops in the Great War say, what are we doing here? We came to kill savages, the German ones. Okay, so this sounds like it could be a, unification of colonies with motherland, right? Because it's like, hey, let's go kill some Germans. We can bond over that. Document 4, Bahari Lal, Indian soldier in the British Indian Army in the Western Front, later to his family in November 1917. This letter also intercepted by British mail censors and was not delivered. There's no likelihood of our getting rest during the winter. I'm sure German prisoners would not be worse off anyway than we are. I had to go 3 nights without sleep as I was on a truck, and the Europeans on the truck did not like to sleep next to me because I'm Indian. I'm sorry the hatred between Europeans and Indians is increasing instead of decreasing. I'm sure the fault is not with the Indians. I'm sorry to write this, not a 100th part of what is in mind. This increasing hatred has compelled me to give you a hint. Okay, increased hatred between Indians and the English. That's not good for relations, I would think. Okay. Document 5, popular Egyptian protest song starting during the Egyptian revolt of 1919 against the British occupation of Egypt. The revolt led to Great Britain's recognition of Egypt's nominal independence in 1922, which we don't read about. That's interesting. Okay. Go to the picture of the whiteboard. Laborers and soldiers who were forced to travel, leaving the land. They headed to the battlefields and the trenches, and now the British blame us for revolting. Behold the calamities you have caused. Had it not been for our labors, you and your troops would have been helpless in the desert sand. Oh, who are you in authority who did not go all alone? Why didn't you go all alone to the Dardanelles, which is a narrow strait of water in northwest Turkey, famous site of Gallipoli campaign? Oh, Maxwell, now you feel the hardships. How does it feel? The Egyptian is resilient, and now he's willing and able and can do anything. His achievements are worthy of praise, and he will do all to gain a constitution. We are the son of pharaohs, which no one can dispute. So, English treatment of Egypt leads to revolution, right? Leads to revolts. Okay, document 6. Hubert Reed, Jamaican veteran of a West Indian regiment of the British Army and leader of a labor union formed to defend the rights of Jamaican war veterans, petitioned to the British colonial government in 1935. It has taken 17 years of countless petitions, marching through the streets of Kingston, as well as agitations before we were given worthless land in some of the most remote parts of the island without even a well-needed 5-pound bill to assist us in making a shabby shelter, much less in trying to cultivate the place for an existence. In some cases, not even wild birds would care to inhabit the worthless land. So, okay, so they were granted terrible land by the English. And this is in Jamaica. Okay, cool. Document 7. Nard Diouf, African veteran, West African regiment, the French Army, interview for an oral history project, 1982. My experience with the war gave me many lasting things. I demonstrated my dignity and courage. I won the respect of my people and the French colonial government. In the years immediately after the war, whenever the people of my village had something to contest with the French, and they didn't dare do it themselves because they were afraid, I would go and take care of it for them. And many times when people had problems with the government, I would go with my war decorations and arrange the situation for them. Because whenever the French saw your decorations, they knew that you were dealing with a very important person. So I gained this ability to obtain justice over the Europeans from the war. Okay, I'm not even going to read the second paragraph, so we're starting to see, like, respect between France and West Africa due to war participation. Okay, so now let's look. We got 2 good documents, 2, like, hey, these relationships are positive, and 5 that are negative. Or we could look at it as French documents versus British documents, right? But they're actually the same. Right, documents 2 and 7 are the only positive ones, are the only ones from the French. All the ones that are about the British are bad, right? So let's see. British teaching new anti violence. Let's get rid of one. I'm gonna get rid of document 6 because it actually gives them something technically. Okay, so my document groups, group A, that title would be increased tensions between England and their colonies. Group B would be a shared sense of identity between France and their colonies. Okay, so what my thesis would look like would then take these 2 ideas and it would say, okay, hey, how would I write this? Relationships between the European powers and their colonies greatly changed due to World War I. That's my first part of my thesis statement, where the English saw increased tensions with their colonies due to lack of reward, lack of respect for the colonial participation in the war. France became closer to its colonies as the French demonstrated respect for their colonial counterparts. Okay, that's my thesis. Y'all gotta not worry about this thesis before context before thesis thing. Context comes before thesis. Just, that's it, right? There is, like, just do that, right? You can do the other way. It doesn't matter, but, like, just do it that way. I don't know. Like, I'm just writing the thesis. And you can write in any order. That's the crazy thing about typing. I can now write my context right here. And then, boom, look, my context is in front of my thesis, right? Like, yeah, just write, just write, okay? No, you cannot take the bus home after the AP test. You will be there all day, okay? Okay, so then there's my groups. So then that's how I organize it, right? I got my documents into 2 groups, and then I'm going to write about those 2 groups. Okay. Yeah, no bus home. All right, I'm done typing and stuff. I've been doing this for an hour and a half. I'm cooked. What questions y'all got? Yes, you will be leaving school late. I'm sorry if you're hearing this first from me. Y'all get emails, y'all. Like, y'all gotta read your emails. Can you use the Industrial Revolution contest for this one? Yeah, raw materials, extraction, sure. No, I'm done. I'm not gonna stream anymore after this. I'm gonna go to bed. Oh, outside evidence. You didn't want me to do that. Okay. right, I would talk about Gallipoli because I know Gallipoli. Okay. One example of outside evidence would be the usage of Anzac troops by the British at the Battle of Gallipoli. Despite the massive sacrifices made at this battle, where thousands of Anzac troops, which is Australia, New Zealand, and the Commonwealth and the colonies, Australia, New Zealand, and the colonies. I think that's this last part. Where thousands of Anzac troops were killed in a battle. The British were foolish to try. The British government did not give the colonial soldiers any benefits from assisting the British in this failed endeavor. Okay, well, I misspelled endeavor. There you go, there's outside evidence. No quotes, never quote. Yes, never quote. I thought you don't get a full 30 minutes? You should get a full 30 minutes of lunch. Yes, bring your IDs, please. Oh my gosh, there's so many stupid little reminders I didn't tell you. Bring your IDs, charge your laptop. You gotta set up a ride. Okay. If you don't have your ID, then like they have to give you a temporary one. Like they have to confirm who you are. No, you don't need to print out your Skyward stuff unless you don't have an ID. Then you need to print out your Skyward stuff. You need one outside evidence. Documents can go in any order. Yep, absolutely. No, do not bring energy drink. They're not going to let you drink it in there. 18 minutes? Jeez. Yeah, read the emails, y'all. Read the emails, please. Stuff yourself at lunch. Go crazy. Eat a whole bunch of food. Drop your stuff off in my room before lunch. So when you're going to A-Lunch, come drop your stuff off in my room before that. ANZAC is Australia, New Zealand, and the colonies. That is essentially like the military of the colonies of Britain. That's what it's usually called. That's too much, Chica. No, Heimler's not a good source, sadly. Take stuff off from your computer, whatever that means. Water is fine. They're going to make you put it at the back of the room. No paper copies, yes. Do you know if we're going to get scratch paper? I don't know if they're going to get scratch paper or not. Somebody may be able to tell you who's taking it online. Oh, Alicia, please no. Okay, they do get scratch paper and they can teach your SS. I wonder who you could be. I feel confident that y'all can get threes. I think y'all are well prepared. I didn't go to the ER. I went to the urgent care. Yeah, it's a little different. Don't chug your coffee. Lesson learned. Heimler's not an actual source. Please. We're getting fives. We're getting fives. We're getting fives, we're getting fours. Fours and fives is what we need. Threes are nice, fours and fives are better. You'll die if you get a 3. Okay. Just don't quote. You can't quote. Don't quote anybody. There's no quotes allowed. You can't. According to Heimler, no. According to Mahatma Gandhi, no. Don't do that. Can you get a 5 in 1 day review if you're prepared already? Like y'all, we just spent a whole term reviewing. You know what I'm saying? Like we just spent a whole term. Our entire curriculum was just reviewing. So like I'm not worried about you knowing the content. You're welcome, Lisa. Yes, you'll get if you get a 4, you can get a high 5, and then come join Decathlon. Prina, I'm giving you tips. These are my tips. Go to bed. Go to bed. That's my number 1. That's true, Alshan. You can get a 6 if you try hard enough. Decolonization. That is the end of colonization. That's after Cold War. they start to or during the Cold War, excuse me, the former African states and Asian states that were colonized gain independence. What grade do you need to pass the AP test? 3 is pass. I don't know who you are, so no, I don't believe that you can get a 5 because I don't know who you are. Then how does outside evidence work in no quotes? You just talk about it. You just talk about it. Right here. Pranav, I did it right here. No quotes. No quotes. Okay. Toei, join Decathlon. Sorry, Toei, go to bed. I don't know you. You might want to join Decathlon. I'm not gonna. It's not everybody's cup of tea. What are the key point D-rub? I can't help you with that at this point. You need a 3 to pass. Can you go over the Cold War, Bay of Pigs? Cold War, no, I can't. Sorry. The Bay of Pigs is a failed invasion by the United States to take over communist Cuba. Leads to the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's the hottest point of the Cold War. It's the closest we get to fighting. You need 1 hit for each document? No, you need 4 hit total, so 4 documents. What percentage grades is 5? Around like a B, usually, like a mid B. Don't get caffeine poisoning. Yes, good. It's better to get sleep. Just period. Just don't even worry about cramming. Is Blue Book really trash? I don't know. Is Decathlon free? If you work hard. 10 to 12 people. Yeah, last year we were like 20%. Oh, thank you. Yes, he's very cute and sometimes annoying. I have not been giving him any love today. Bay of Pigs not important. No, it's not really. Can I write the essay the way you wrote it? Sure. The F students are the inventors. 6 total docs, 4 hips, 1 outside evidence. Shika, you are correct. Yeah, I'm confident in y'all's MCQ, SAQ, LEQ abilities, and I'm pretty confident in your DBQ abilities. And that's not because of y'all. That's because I did not teach y'all enough. Because Mr. Hartman fell off hard. What did they say? He crashed out. Okay, he crashed out. 2 hip is the minimum. 4 hip is what you want to go for, though. It's true. You could skip the DBQ, cook on those 3, and get a 4. And it's true. Don't cram until 4 a.m. Go to sleep. What's the best format? Just complete sentences, please. I don't know what you mean by format. Well, it's because you're so smart, Alicia. Why skip DBQ? It's easier than LEQ. I think it is easier too. Just put stuff in, just like write about the documents. Just don't quote them. What units are the most important? I would say 4, 5, 6. I'm not gonna play World Conquering Tetris. I'm gonna get off this screen is what I'm gonna do. Brandon, you've been watching it. You've been watching it for like the last 6 weeks to 2 months. I have just been exhausted. Name 1 Metallica song. The Shrek song, obviously. Yes, if you miss 20 questions, do decent on the writing, get a 5. It's hard, but you can do it. Can you play games on Friday? No. 3's probably important. I don't doubt it. I just don't think it's that important. Room's gonna be cold. Summarize, yes. Do not quote ever, because you just have to rewrite the quote. You put it in your paraphrase. Put it in your own words. Bring jackets. Can you hip it for... Hip is your analysis for the DBQ. Can I do 1 more DBQ? No, I'm sorry. I'm exhausted. It's 8:30. I'm ready to go. Okay. Don't skip breakfast. What side of the metalcore debate? I wasn't in the metalcore debate. You don't need a conclusion for any of them. What are we going to do after the AP test? The hardest unit of the year. Go to sleep at like 11. That's the latest you should stay up. Yes. Okay. What? Whoa! Chill out, Brandon. Why are you saying such things? Unless you're saying it's somebody else. I'm trying to catch up here. What's the deleted message I got rid of here? Oh, Shawnee is cooked. Sorry. That's rough. Shawnee's not cooked. He's gonna do fine. Honestly, okay, Master of Puppets, 1, Battery, Okay, I know like 6 songs from Metallica. Okay. All right, where am I? LEQ structures, context, thesis, evidence, reasoning. Yes, correct. Do all states have the same test? No. I think there's a different version for the West Coast. No, I don't think that's true, actually. They do have the same version. What's up, Rochelle? Oh, wow. That's rough. I don't, like, I listen, and Justice for All is the album I really listen to from them. More than anything. And a little bit of Master of Puppets. And I guess Saint Anger. I listened to a lot of Saint Anger when I was younger. And that's not a good album. What's a different way to get... There is no LEQ complexity point for the DBQ. Just do the 4-hip. Just do the 4-hip and you're done. And you get it. Okay. I don't know how hard it is to do that. Okay. Is it past 8:30 now? Oh, it's past my bedtime, guys. Okay, bye, everybody. Bye. I didn't do a whole lot on this one, but thank y'all. I liked it. It was fun, but now I'm ready to go to bed. No, I can't get the basic rundown of feudalism in Europe at this point. It's just, it's interlocking relationships between nobles and kings. I got like 20% fives, I think, last year. Okay, bye, everybody.